Hey, friendly readers. Welcome back to Storytime. As always, I'm your ever-busy host, Story J. Well, as you can see, I got a bit of a mess on my hands, because I'm in the middle of an open house today, and also our art exhibit at the library. So gotta pick up a little bit after one of our guests came by, and, if you'll excuse me just one second. Hey, what's the matter?
Yeah. Okay. Alright.
Whoa, what happened to you?
Her? You should see the other kids.
Well, these big kids.
Wait, you were fighting with big kids?
Big stories. And your girl took them down like Super Annie.
Well, they were making fun because Family Day is coming up. And Thordilocks.
I have two mums and they were teasing me. It made me feel like we were really not bad.
Can I tell you something, buddy? You aren't wrong or bad. Your parents aren't wrong or bad. And nobody should have to hear hurtful words for being who they are. Now let me ask you, do they love you?
Yeah,
Then that's all that matters.
that's all?
That's all. Because that's what every loving family does. Every family's different, just like every person's different. Some have mixed race families. Some kids have one parent or four parents, or raised by uncles or aunts. And sometimes you can have a great big huge family. Now here's a book that's all about the different types of families, and how every one of them is different and special in their own way.
Hey,
What you want, baby? Can you get Hoffman number 30685?
Sure enough.
From Mary Hoffman, here is The Great Big Book of Families. The Great Big Book of Families. Written by Mary Hoffman and pictures by Roz Asquith. Once upon a time, most families in books looked like this. But in real life, families come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. In this book are a lot of families living in different ways. Perhaps there's one that looks like yours. Families. Lots of children live with their mommy and daddy. But lots of others live with just their daddy or just their mommy. Some live with their grandma and grandpa. Some children have two mommies or two daddies. And some are adopted or live with foster families. Who's in your family? Some people have lots of brothers and sisters, and uncles and aunties, and cousins, and grandmas and grandpas, and even great-grandmas and great-grandpas. But some people have really small families. You can be a family with just two people. Homes. People live in all sorts of homes. Some small families live in big houses. And some big families live in tiny apartments. And some people can't find anywhere to live. School. Most children go to school, but some are homeschooled. And some just won't go to school. Others are too young to go to school. Jobs. In some families, everyone has a job. In others, only one person goes to work. Some parents work from home, and some can't get a job at all. Holidays. Some families go on exotic vacations, and some stay closer to home. Some visit family in other countries, and others go on day trips. Not all families can afford a vacation, but most people get some time off from work. Even a weekend at home can be a little vacation. Food. Some moms or dads are great cooks. Others prefer to buy ready-made meals. Most families get their food from shops or markets, but some people grow their own. Clothes. Some children get new clothes. Others have hand-me-downs, or their clothes come from thrift stores. Some families dress up for special occasions. But some like to wear jeans all the time. And some dress any way they please. Pets. Some people believe their pets are members of their family. And some pets think they're very important family members. Some people even look like their pets. Some families can't have pets, but it doesn't stop them from dreaming. And there are ways that every family can have a pet of some sort. Celebrations. Birthdays are fun, but some families make more fuss about them than others. And then there's Christmas, Diwali, Eid, Hanukkah, weddings, christenings, Kwanzaa, bar and bat mitzvahs, Chinese New Year. Whatever you celebrate in your family, there are usually some special traditions.
What are we celebrating?
Everything.
Hobbies. In some families, everyone has the same hobby. In others, everyone likes doing different things. Transportation. Some families walk everywhere.
Carry me.
To the store, to school, to the doctor. Others get around in big cars, or on bicycles, or riding something else. Feelings. In some families, everyone shares their feelings. Other people are more shy. Or perhaps they just like to keep their feelings to themselves. Sometimes, not everyone in the family feels the same way about things. And feelings can change quickly. Have you ever tried to make a family tree? Sometimes you don't have to go back far to find bits of family who have come from other countries. And if your mom or dad lives with a new partner, you might have to make a whole new set of branches. So families can be big, small, happy, sad, rich, poor, loud, quiet, mad, good-tempered, worried, or happy-go-lucky. Most families are all of these things some of the time. What's yours like today?
Bessie Coleman. It was the turn of the century, the early 1900s. Yeah, that century. Radio was big, silent movies ruled the entertainment landscape, and finally, a man could fly. And yeah, it was mainly the men. But while all this excitement and discovery was happening, a young soon-to-be pilot named Bessie Coleman would be watching the skies for her turn. Bessie grew up in a small segregated town in Texas to a family of sharecroppers. From a very young age, she had a lot of responsibilities, along with walking 4 miles to school and back every day. At school, however, Bessie loved to read and was excellent at math, and was soon accepted at the Missionary Baptist Church School on a scholarship. But Bessie knew that one day she would have to leave her small town, and in 1915, she moved to Chicago to live with her older brothers who just returned from World War I. She eagerly listened to all of their adventures and war stories from other pilots. But the one that clicked was how in France, all the women there could fly planes, unlike the women in America. Next thing you knew, Bessie was applying to every aviation school in America she could find, but not one of them would accept a black girl as an aviator. Thankfully, Bessie knew better and didn't take no for an answer, and in 1920 moved to France where she could finally learn to fly. Bessie was so good that she graduated from the 10-month flight school in only 7, making her the first African-American woman in the world to receive her pilot's license in 1921, 2 years before Amelia Earhart. Here she shined for the big crowds as a stunt pilot billed as the world's greatest woman flyer. Even after returning home to the United States, she became a media sensation as a popular barnstorming pilot doing dangerous air shows and quickly earned the name Queen Bess. Bessie used her popularity in both white and black communities to stand up against racial discrimination wherever she could. She even had hopes of opening her own flight school to instruct a new generation of girls of color in aviation. However, during a test flight in 1926, a mechanical issue caused her plane to crash. Bessie may have flown to a better place, but her legacy lives on here for all future adventurers to spring from their roots and spread their wings. Long live Queen Bess! And that was just a moment in real Black superhero history.
I love how everyone gets their own style in some families, and they get to dress how they want.
Yeah, cause I probably should have put these in the wash. How long they've been out? That's not right. Seriously, wow. Like, I don't know if you could just shout that out, man.
LP. Boys, can I please? Now, Thordy, as you know, I worked in kindergarten, and I saw a lot of different families. Some had one mom and no dad. Some had one dad and no mom. Some had two moms, two dads. Some had aunts or uncles. Some lived with their grandparents or in a foster home or were adopted. And any way they found their family. And you know the one thing I found? In every one of them, they had love, they had joy, and they only wanted and deserved the same things for those they loved. In a safe and sound home.
How do I get all the other kids to realize that?
Well, sometimes you can't. Sometimes people believe whatever they want despite whatever you show them or however nice you can be to them.
What then?
Yeah, do we get to hit him?
Yeah.
No. You continue being who you are.
Scrappy.
Simple acts of kindness to yourself and others. Like spending quality time with friends and family. Take Charlie, or as they call him in Sweden, Kalle, for instance, as he spends a simple day out with his grandfather. In a little town in Sweden, there's a little boy called Charlie. Charlie has a tree that he calls his own, and all day long he lies up there and daydreams about all sorts of things, and about Emma, his pretend friend who only exists in his imagination, but she's nice, thinks Charlie. And underneath his tree sits Grandpa, who likes to read all about everything that happens in the newspaper, while Charlie loves to lie at the top of his tree, being slowly swayed by the wind, daydreaming. Here's Charlie, lying in his tree as usual, while his grandpa sits below him, reading his newspaper.
I just see worse and worse,
He says,
soon I'll get new glasses again.
I remember how it was last time when Grandpa was going to get new glasses, thinks Charlie. Then I had to come with him. When we got to the optic shop, the optician brought out a box of glasses. Grandpa put on a pair of strange glasses. Then the optician put in different lenses. Grandpa looked at a board with letters and tried to read what was on it. I was allowed to borrow the glasses to look through. With one, everything became big. With the other, everything became small. After a little while, I tried on different glasses too. I wonder what Emma thinks about glasses. Maybe it suits her best in regular glasses. There were binoculars in the shop, too. It was fun to look at people when they don't know you can see them. When we finished the optician, we went to the watchmaker to pick up Grandpa's watch that had been repaired. On the way there, I got a big vanilla ice cream. In the watch shop, it was absolutely full of watches. There were different kinds of alarm clocks, kitchen clocks, and wall and cuckoo clocks, floor clocks. And just as we had come in, it was 3 o'clock. Grandpa's watch was finished, and it was good as new. Then, Grandpa wanted to go to the pastry shop. I was disappointed I couldn't finish my pastry. But Grandpa ate up all the bread rolls. Then he ate my cake too. I wonder if Grandpa may be overweight. The walk home was tiring. Grandpa thought it was almost a bit too far. But I was busy thinking about all the hats I saw at the pastry shop. Not all families even have a home. Some have parents that either don't have jobs or can't work. And when that happens, they have to make really hard choices for their families. This next book talks about families that go through what's known as home or food insecurity, and what it's like making those choices, especially when it's hard to ask for help. From Dianne O'Neill, this is Saturday at the Food Pantry. Saturday at the Food Pantry. Written by Dianne O'Neill and illustrated by Brazita Magro. Dinner, Mom called. Chili again? Molly asked. They'd had it every day this week. Last week, too. Yup, Mom said. Tastes even better. The spices sink in. Mom ladled the last of the chili into their bowls. We have fancy milk, too. Molly grinned. She watched Mom pour milk into the sugar and spices in her cup. Mom shook the milk carton. Just a tiny splash, and put it in the refrigerator. Tomorrow we'll get food, Mom said. We're going shopping? Molly's eyes lit up. Chicken and spaghetti and ice cream. Well, sort of. We're going to a food pantry. What's a food pantry? Molly asked. It's a place for people who need food. Mom stood straight, her chin high. Everybody needs help sometimes. At bedtime, Mom usually made warm, fancy milk and read a story. Tonight, just a story. Molly tossed and turned, trying to sleep. Her hunger growled. The next morning, they walked to the food pantry. Why do we need to wait? Molly asked. The pantry isn't open yet, Mom said. It's only open certain hours. Molly pulled paper and crayons out of her backpack. She started drawing. Then she looked up. Look, Mom! There's Caitlin! She's in my class! Hey, Caitlin! Caitlin looked away. Molly ran over to her. Didn't you hear me? Caitlin looked down. I don't want anybody to know Gran and I need help, she whispered. Oh. Molly walked back to her mom. Was there something wrong with needing help? Molly wanted to go home, but she was hungry. You okay? Mom asked. Why don't you want to draw me a picture? I love your drawings. The woman in front of them turned, smiling at Molly. An artist! Will you draw one for me too? Molly pulled out her crayons again. Maybe drawing a happy picture would cheer her up. Hey, can you draw me a picture too? Me too! Will you draw me one? Molly ran to Caitlin with paper and crayons in her hands. Help! Everybody wants pictures! I can't draw that fast! Caitlin looked up. Well, okay. Soon, a woman appeared at the door. Molly and Caitlin each handed her a picture. Thank you! What wonderful gifts! Welcome! Please sign in, said the man at the desk. Mom didn't have to sign her name when they went to the grocery store, Molly thought. But the man smiled at them. Thanks. Grab a cart and stop here when you're done. Lots of good food today. Thanks, Mom said. She smiled, but just a little. Not like when they played in the park. The food pantry was like the little store where they sometimes bought bread and milk. Cans and boxes were on plain metal shelves. Molly ran toward a shelf and picked up a box of sugar cookies. No, Mom said. Then she whispered, The people in charge, they'll want us to take sensible stuff. Mom's face turned pink. Molly's eyes widened. Why did her mom think that? Why were cookies here if you weren't supposed to take them? The woman at the door and the man at the desk had seemed nice. Would they really not want Molly and her mom to have cookies? Molly swallowed tears. She put the cookies back. They would have been good with fancy milk. Help me put food in the cart, Mom sighed. Just like Caitlin, Mom looked like she wanted to be invisible. But none of them were doing anything wrong. Everybody needs help sometimes, Molly whispered to her mom. Remember? Mom smiled. You're right. Molly pointed at a sign on a huge bin of fruit. What if somebody wants 2 cantaloupes? A lot of people need help, Mom said. They have to make sure they have enough food for everybody who comes here. Molly and Mom put oranges and a cantaloupe in their cart. Mom handed Molly cans of corn, tomatoes, and cling peaches, bags of red beans, pinto beans, and brown rice, a loaf of wheat bread, a box of oatmeal, and a bag of sugar, spaghetti noodles, sauce, and grated cheese, raisins and tuna, and peanut butter too. Mom reached for a big box of powdered milk. We'll have fancy milk tonight. They checked out at the desk. The man pointed to the wall. Oh! Molly ran to Caitlin. Come here, look! Molly's rainbow sparkled. Caitlin's elf grinned. I was in a sad mood, the man said. Your artwork helped. Thank you. He put their groceries into bags. Then he handed Molly's mom a box of sugar cookies. Saw your little girl looking at these. She can have them. If that's okay with you, ma'am. Mom had a funny look. Almost like she wanted to cry. She nodded. Thank you. Everybody deserves a treat, the man said. Enjoy. Molly and Mom walked home. They each carried a bulging bag. Molly! She looked around and saw Caitlin and her gran. I didn't know you lived so close, Mom said to Caitlin's gran. How nice, we're neighbors, Caitlin's gran said. I keep looking for work. They closed the factory, Mom said. I've been sick, said Caitlin's gran. We've got lots of yummy food, Molly said. Did you? Yeah, Caitlin shrugged. I just wish we didn't have to come to a food pantry. Molly said, but everybody needs help sometimes. And we helped. We cheered people up. Caitlin grinned. We did, didn't we? I have an idea. Let's have lunch together, Molly said. Yes, Caitlin agreed. And we have dessert, Molly said. The man at the pantry gave me sugar cookies. There's enough for all of us. Let's eat. And they did. So, how'd you like it?
It was good, but it made me feel a little sad. Yeah.
There's just so many people out there who need help, and I want to help everyone, but
There's no way one person can take on the whole entire weight of the world, Patsy. Not even Superman, Wonder Woman, or Spider-Man could do it all. But you can help.
What can we do?
Well, maybe during the holidays you can use your time or money to donate to shelters. Or give time to local food banks. Or feeding the hungry during Thanksgiving.
And maybe we don't have to get something so big this year.
maybe show our family how much we love them by making them a gift.
Show them how much you appreciate them by giving them something you made, and not just something you bought off the shelf.
And be kinder to everyone. Because you never know what someone's going through.
And that includes you, buddy. I've got another one to show you. Might make you feel a little better. And this one's being read by an old friend from the neighborhood.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Francois Clemmons of the world of AKA Off Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the singing policeman, but in this case, this is my career as a reader, writer, and lover of children's stories. This one is A Peacock Among Pigeons. It's written by Tyler Curry and illustrated by Clarion Gutierrez. My name is Peter, and I was born a peacock. Don't ask me how it happened, but somehow, some way, I grew up in a flock of pigeons. And being a peacock in a family of pigeons isn't easy at all. You see, pigeons don't always like others who are different. Sometimes pigeons can treat other birds like they're not good enough just because they don't look the same or fly the same. They can call them names and make them feel like they're strange or weird or they don't belong. My pigeon flock thought I walked funny. They thought I talked funny. And they said my feathers were too colorful for a boy bird like me. And when you grow up with no other peacocks around, it can be easy to think they're right. I spent a long time hiding my colorful feathers and pretending I was a pigeon. I tucked my feathers away and covered myself with mud and dirt to hide my bright colors. I walked upright like a pigeon. I puffed out my chest like a pigeon. And I kept my tail from swishing and swaying so no one would notice how different I was. But it was no use. Whenever I relaxed, one of my flashy feathers would slip out. Everyone would notice and point and laugh. My pigeon friends would call me names. They would pretend to walk like me and make fun of my voice. Even though I acted like them, any beak with two eyes could see I didn't belong. One day, when no pigeons were around, I walked by a puddle and looked at my reflection. The bird I saw looking back was an ugly bird who was flashy, flamboyant, and embarrassing. I thought, my blues were too blue, my greens were too green, and my gold hues were far too girly for a boy bird to have. I believed what the other pigeons said, and I didn't like the bird staring back at me. But there was no use trying to be a pigeon because I'd never be able to change my feathers. It was time to fly out on my own. At first, my journey was a lonely one. But one day, I met a cardinal named Craig. He was sassy and bold. He told me funny stories that made me laugh and laugh. He didn't seem to mind being around a peacock like me. Craig introduced me to his canary friend, Sarah. Sarah was very friendly and had a sing-song voice that made me smile. Do you know what she told me? She thought my feathers were beautiful. So beautiful, in fact, that she wanted to introduce me to Owen the owl. Owen was smart. Owen was sophisticated. Owen moved like no bird I had ever seen before. He said he liked the way I moved too. Craig, Sarah, and Owen introduced me to more of their friends, each unique and beautiful in their own way. There was Fanny the flamingo, who made even me feel plain and ordinary with her dazzling pinks and whites. There was Henry the hummingbird, who never finished a sentence before fluttering away. There was Benny the blue jay, who was the fastest bird I'd ever seen. And there was Penny the parrot, who was very nice and loved to talk. There were so many different birds, some sweet, some bold, some smart, and some funny. but each one was special in their own way. On one very special day, I came upon a beautiful bird I had never seen before. He had the brightness of yellow, like Sarah, my canary friend, and the boldness of blue, like Benny, the blue jay. His tail swished back and forth like he was dancing, and his feathers had a beautiful starry glow. On the very top of his head, he had a funny crown of feathers that fluttered about. He was the most beautiful bird I had ever seen. I just had to take a closer look. So I took a few steps closer, but the beautiful bird disappeared. Instead, I saw the ripples of the puddle I had just stepped in. I squinted my eyes in disbelief. It was my own reflection, but could it really be me? For so long, I saw what the pigeons saw. And although my feathers never changed, I saw myself differently after meeting new birds who were special and liked me for the peacock I am. I wasn't just a silly bluebird with flashy feathers and a funny walk. My flamboyant tail filled with bright colors no longer embarrassed me, and I didn't want to be just like the rest of my pigeon flock. I was happy to be me. Whether you are as bright as a canary, as cool as a cardinal, or as flashy as a flamingo, your feathers are what make you special. So embrace who you are from beak to bird feet. And always remember to love the feathers you were born with. Peter the Peacock.
I heard Story J has a new art exhibit with artwork from former students and camp kids.
Sure, let's go.
Museum, please.
I do feel better now.
Those stories help?
Yeah, but mainly knowing I have friends who have my back. And a lot of people who care. And that's what matters most. Right?
You got it.
Hey, Story J, I've been meaning to ask, why are there so many papers everywhere?
Oh, yeah, well, one of the parents came in with...
Ah, a monkey.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, him, the chimpanzee. Yeah, he got into all my graded papers, all my drawings, turned on the fan, and, well, here we are.
How'd a monkey get in here?
Chimpanzee. Monkeys have tails. I don't know. He came in with this guy.
In the yellow 10-gallon hat?
You see him? That's him. Grab him. Grab him. Sir? Sir. Yeah, we don't allow animals in here unless they're service animals. I'm sorry. I got something I gotta deal with, but friendly readers, please. Be thoughtful. Be helpful. Be proud to be you. And I'll see you next time.
Ooh, that looked expensive.
Man, I just finished paying that off.
Hey, the monkey's stomping all over your books.
Chimpanzee. You know, it really bothers me y'all keep calling him a